And welcome back to another episode of Backstage in WWE, the one where we shake things up a little bit because I'm not at my house. I'm on location at my significant other's domicile in a basement, staring at pipes with earbuds as my microphone. So I apologize if I'm of poor quality, but hey, it's the best I can do because I wanted to shake things up a little bit.
So she put you in the basement when you're in trouble.
I didn't even get a chair, and somehow there are shackles around my ankle. I don't know what's going on. I'm in a cage. It's really strange. I'm in the Jeddah arena at some fake event. I don't understand what's going on here. But
where does she store your balls? Just curious.
My bowling bag.
Okay, naturally, yeah.
Well, yeah, we're gonna shake things up by not really doing much. So it goes to show what consistency there is between us and the real thing. And then we're gonna talk about the greatest Royal Rumble, and then we're gonna talk about what could be in the future for both brands, and then what's going to happen. But I think first off, we need to acknowledge the death of one of wrestling's most iconic figures, and that is Bruno Sammartino, a Pittsburgh guy, blazed many trails. And you talked about it before we even hit the record button. How many main events did he headline at sellout crowds in Madison Square Garden?
More than anyone. And of course, there's the theory that he headlined 187 or 188, which Dave Meltzer made sure to point out on the day of his death is not true. But
a nice way to break open a statistic, Dave. Good timing.
Yeah, classic Dave. But yeah, it was a lot. I mean, needless to say, it was a lot, and more than anyone. And he's absolutely one of the biggest names in the history of the business.
Easily. And I don't think just the wrestling business, but the entire sports, because pro wrestling, I know it isn't considered a sport per se, but a lot of players have crossed over into real sports, MMA, football, and vice versa. And, it's one thing to acknowledge them in that world, but, there may not have been, and I know you were alive in the tail end of his career, and he was still a huge name, right? I mean, I know that most of his stardom was in the 60s and 70s, but he was still that guy you knew that never disappointed anybody. He was always like an icon. He was an eighth wonder of the world, if you will, to steal someone else's catchphrase.
Yeah, he was huge in professional wrestling, and he's one of those guys that crossed over. I mean, you can always tell how big of a name someone really is when they die. And it's unfortunate, but, you look at social media and there's all kinds of mainstream sports teams and figures in entertainment and athletics who are mentioning the death of Bruno Sammartino. And I think that's really a tribute to how big of a deal he was.
I agree completely. I was not alive for any of his wrestling matches. I was born in 1993. But just from all my research and all of the analysis that I've done, in the past 7 years alone, there's no one bigger, at least to me. Hulk Hogan can suck one. He may have been. I just pulled a Dave. Whoops. Hulk brought mainstream appeal to the product, as far as like celebrity status goes, but that wasn't what Bruno was about. He quit, and correct me if I'm wrong, he quit, retired, during the time where steroids in wrestling were getting much more publicized, right? That's what I was told today. He didn't like that the integrity of what he created was going away very, very fast.
Yeah.
So let's there's usually an elbow drop from hell from Dean this week, but due to his request and that he's older than both of us and was alive for a decent amount of Bruno's in-ring career, I felt like he was the most how should I put it, reliable to talk about it. So
he experienced it as it happened in real time. which is that's not actually not a knock on Dean, but
I know.
Like it's different, you know, to kind of see it on the network, which is still cool, but also to have been there in the moment. There's something to be said about that as well.
Yeah, that's true. So here's Dean, a much more solemn Dean this week, but I think you guys will enjoy it.
John and Brad, I'm not dropping an elbow this week because the elbow was dropped on us. This is Wednesday as I'm recording this, and John just told me that Bruno Sammartino has died. And I'm glad I heard it from you, John, because there's no one else I would have rather heard that news from. 1980, I was turning 11 years old, and my late father was always watching wrestling on Saturday afternoon, and there was this story he was excited about where Larry Zbyszko felt he was like in the shadow of Bruno Sammartino and was challenging him to a match. Bruno didn't want to fight him, and he said he wouldn't try to pin him, but he agreed to an exhibition. And my dad decided that day that I was old enough to watch wrestling now. And so the very first match that I ever saw was the one where Larry Zbyszko turned on Bruno Sammartino, launching an 8-month feud that was the feud of 1980. And all you need to know how big that was that at the Showdown at Shea in August of that year, Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan were fighting on that card, and they were in the mid-card because Bruno and Larry was the main event. And that was something that helped me bond to my dad for many years, and it's because of Bruno. And Bruno, I didn't see wrestle in his heyday, but rest be assured, for 20 years, Bruno Sammartino carried the Worldwide Wrestling Federation on his back, and he sold out arenas, and he kept them in business. Everything we cheer for today, every superstar in the ring today, it wouldn't be there if not for Bruno. And on a personal note, because there was such a bond that I had with my father and through wrestling, and because of that first match I saw, I owe a personal debt to John Paul Levesque, Triple H. He's the one who mended the fences, because it was never a Hall of Fame until Bruno was in it. But he's the one that reached out to mend the fences that were there. And I blame Bruno for that. I mean, he should have, I thought, swallowed his pride a lot sooner and gone into the Hall of Fame for what he had done. But it eventually happened, and now everything is right with that. I got to meet Bruno once, a couple years ago. He was at PCNC, WPXI's cable station, on our night talk show. I don't get starstruck. I produce sports, and I meet stars all the time. But I was nervous going up to talk to Bruno. And I can't tell you what we talked about beyond the fact that I told him that same story about my dad. But I remember a firm handshake. I remember a very conversation, like we knew each other. He would just talk, and he enjoyed those few minutes together, and it's a few minutes that I will treasure always. He was wrestling's living legend. He was the man, and rest in peace, Bruno Sammartino.
What do you think?
I thought that was really special. You know, he obviously was a huge name. We all agree with that, but that's one of the cool things about professional wrestling, and you know, the opportunity you have to bond with other people who love wrestling as well and have those kind of special memories. And for Dean to be able to do that, I think with his father was really special. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and if it wasn't such a touching piece, I was going to interrupt him and say, well, you know, Hulk and Andre were on that card too. That's where he slammed him the first time. But I didn't feel like it was appropriate. Because wrestling, especially in Vince's world, he wants you to remember what he remembers. But I would hope that they do justice on the Raw upcoming and not give him some bullshit faded out graphic with his name and the years he was alive. I hope they do it well. Now, here's a question for you. If he wasn't in the Hall, do you think that they would make his death a big deal on TV?
Certainly, there'd probably be more of a probability that they would do less on TV to celebrate his career in life. And, you know, the Hall of Fame is meaningless in many ways, as I've given you my opinion on that. But
oh, sure. Yeah.
But for people like Bruno, the Brunos, the Hulks, the Austins, who have just transitioned the business in major ways, who've had serious impacts on the business that may never be duplicated, that is just super special, you know, those guys deserve some recognition, and sure, they probably get it, you know, from their peers, and in some cases from the fans. But it's also nice to get that seal of approval from the worldwide leader, in the business as well. And so, just as a fan, it was really nice to see that happen. You don't want to see, no matter how bullshit the Hall of Fame is, you want to see these guys get their just due for the impact they've made on the business, the guys like him. And so I'm really glad he was able to make up with Vince. And although unfortunately it sounds like he was not able to make up with David.
Yeah, that seems like it's yeah. Well, either way, he's on my Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling, no doubt. I think it's for me. It starts with him because he was first in line, and then you go Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, John Cena. Those are my four guys, and I think as far of an impact that all four of those guys have made on the industry, I would say because of the time period and because of what he had to overcome. Because, you know, there wasn't social media back then. There wasn't even internet. And if there was, it was so minimally used to where it was only word of mouth, playbills, newspaper clippings, television spots, and billboards, maybe. Or just the Tron outside of MSG to where you say, oh, I'm going to watch Bruno this evening. You know, they didn't send out a tweet saying that, well, Bruno's fighting Nick Bockwinkel in the main event for, 60 minutes. They didn't have that. It's so much easy now than it used to be. But I think that, he and I wish I would have been able to see more of his stuff live. I obviously aged to denied me that opportunity. However, just from what Dean said and just from what you said, it's no doubt that his imprint will be left forever. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I agree. One of the absolute all-time greats.
There's no question. So I want to talk about something good.
Yeah, sure. Let's.
Do we have that?
I don't know that we have something good, but we certainly have something less somber.
Oh yeah, Monday Night Raw. Well, so let's see. You know what? We'll always do this. So, you know what? I'll let you take the floor. Who has shaken up Monday Night Raw this year?
Well, Monday Night Raw got, and it started right away with Monday Night Maharaja.
Uh-huh.
United States Champion Jinder Mahal and one of the Singh brothers. Boom.
That's cool. But then he lost his U.S. title.
Very, very stupid booking there, in my opinion.
So
very stupid.
So Kurt wants to screw over Jinder, who he traded for initially, right? Just to have the U.S. title go to SmackDown. Well, okay.
Yeah, it was really stupid booking. In fact, I think that was a theme throughout Monday and Tuesday on both Raw and SmackDown Live. It was full of lazy, uncreative writing designed to just give you a moment like, oh, who's coming through the curtain next? They're the next new person to be on the show, rather than telling a story or making it sort of creative or interesting.
I think, you know what? I think it's fair to say that Drew McIntyre's return, it is a return, was the best addition, you know, continuity-wise, of the entire shake-up. Can you agree? It was done well.
It was one of the best. Oh yeah, as far as I don't know, it was actually thought done really poorly because you know, Dolph Ziggler comes out and okay, so he gets attacked. It's like, okay, and by the way, he didn't come alone. So it's like, did he know somehow he was going to get attacked? And so he had a guy waiting backstage for him. Like, it just wasn't logical at all. So I thought it was really stupid writing. But that aside, yeah, I mean, it was one of the only things I guess, new Raw superstars that they put any effort into doing anything into.
Yeah.
Rather than just a Titantron screen or a, hey, look, he's coming out. He's obviously the newest member of Monday Night Raw. No, moron. He is not obviously the newest member of Monday Night Raw. It's, you know, you haven't told that story. But anyway.
No. Well, no, there's a lack of storytelling. You know, on top of the list, Bobby Lashley returned to the company last week. He wasn't even on the. No, he was in the 6, or was it a 10-man tag? 10-man tag.
Yeah.
He was in the 10-man tag with another newcomer, Bobby Roode, which I felt that return. I keep saying that word. That debut, rather, it felt special. He was the last guy out, big name. They put him in a spot to shine. You already know about him. He's a baby face. So to that, you know, bravo, you know, got me excited. I'm like, oh, Bobby's here. Okay, cool. You know, it kind of got me going.
Not me.
Well, you don't like Bobby Roode, so that's fine.
Well, I just think he's a bit overrated. He's not overly special. He's pretty average. And that's fine. You know, every roster needs those type of talents, but it was kind of like they build up this big, like, who could it be situation, and it's like Bobby Roode, you know. But it's fine. I mean, I didn't like the concept of the 10-man tag anyway. That doesn't really highlight some of your top stars who have just been added to the show. And so it's whatever, but you know, they had to get everyone on the show, so they just put together a 10-man tag. That's pretty much it.
And other people on the roster now, Authors of Pain and Ember Moon, who we saw last week.
And I have to talk about Authors of Pain because that is a real puzzler to me.
Why? Because there's no Paul Ellering.
Yeah. Paul Ellering, who, of course, was the manager of who I feel is the greatest tag team of all time, the Road Warriors. And so they've got this guy who's been in the business forever and could be a great mentor for Authors of Pain on the main roster. And WWE decides they're not going to use him on the main roster. And granted, he's in his early to mid-60s. And
Vince hates old people.
But he's a manager, and Vince doesn't like managers.
Except for Paul Heyman. He's the one exception.
And he's called an advocate. He's specifically not called the manager.
And we'll get to another manager situation.
But I just thought Paul Ellering was a good part of the presentation. And I thought he would have only added to that on Raw as well.
Yeah, I agree. I do. However, Vince does not. So you saw Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens debut. I thought, you know, the best part of that was them jumping in the ring holding hands with Miz and the Miztourage. That was great.
Yeah, but again, that was poor writing.
Well, yeah, because it made the week before his match mean nothing.
Told them TNA is hiring.
Yeah, but
last week.
But then Stephanie overstepped. Actually, she didn't. She went in and said, "You guys are hired. I want you guys on my team." So Stephanie hired them, not Kurt Angle. He's not the only one in charge. Steph's Kurt's boss. And
she wasn't there. She wasn't there to say that.
She sent an email.
She sent an email. That's really stupid. I'm sorry.
Listen, if you don't email anymore, that's fine, but other people still do.
Maybe she could show up to the show. She's the fucking commissioner.
Her arm's broken. She can't. She's bedridden. She had to use Siri to write that email.
Oh, jeez.
Baron Corbin is on Raw. Nobody cares.
I thought that was fantastic. I'm really excited about it. It's obvious, so he can start getting more of a main event push.
It will never happen.
It will happen.
It will never happen.
It will happen.
No. Natalia's on Raw. Whoop-de-doo. It looks like she's going to help Ronda get more acclimated to professional wrestling, even though she had maybe the best debut of all time.
If Baron Corbin gets a main event push, if he gets a title shot, a Universal Championship,
will never win.
It doesn't matter if he doesn't win. If that is the main event. If he gets into the main event, you have to buy a Baron Corbin T-shirt and wear it.
No. Well, maybe. Fine. So no. So what's the deal? He has to main event a pay-per-view. Last match for the championship.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Good. It'll never happen. The Riot Squad also showed up. It looked like they just wanted to switch the two female factions that really haven't done that much. And lo and behold, The Miz is traded to SmackDown Live, which
I really like that.
Tremendous.
I thought Miz is a better fit in SmackDown Live. He has more opportunity.
He has more freedom to do what he wants.
And frankly, the big match I'm waiting for is him and Daniel Bryan, and they're already starting to do it on house shows, I believe. They're advertising it for the UK tour, and I'm just concerned they're not going to give that the proper build it deserves. That should be a SummerSlam or WrestleMania match.
Sure, but it's Road Dogg, so you get what we get.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they'll put him in a 10-man tag.
It'll be a 30-man tag with Miz and Bryan getting the hot tags.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's their match. Personally, I want to see Big Cass versus Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman in a triple threat ladder match at WrestleMania.
Oh God, I would totally have to change my pants.
Did you get a half chub whenever Big Cass called Daniel Bryan little man and looked down on him?
I did. I actually did. Maybe full, at least in quarters, because I was just like picturing Big Cass doing midget tossing. Like I'm thinking, like how far could he like throw these guys like in a midget toss? And that would just be like phenomenal TV. Like, let's give Big Cass a 15-minute segment for midget tossing. Like
how Mark Henry used to do the world just lifting records. He would like pull a truck, or he would arm wrestle.
Right.
Because, living the gimmick. Oh, God. So, yeah, Big Cass is back, who still talks like a robot. So I hope his promos get better.
Well, but honestly, this was the best move for Cass to get away from the stench of Raw that he had with Enzo and Carmella and that whole situation that didn't work out. And frankly, SmackDown is a place for guys like him to really grow and develop. We saw, I think, Baron Corbin do it. I think we saw The Miz do it. And so there is benefit to that, and that was strategic. And so I think this will really be his opportunity. He's going to have to stay healthy.
Yeah.
He's going to have to continue to improve, but I think SmackDown is definitely the best opportunity for him right now.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what he needs to get better on the mic, though, or else he's not going to go anywhere. And I'm not just saying that because he's a big guy and you love big guys. I mean that seriously. So first and foremost, Jeff Hardy. Again, we said Kurt traded the U.S. title to SmackDown for nothing. Jeff Hardy had a decent match with Shelton Benjamin. So
can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jeff Hardy, okay? So he beats Jinder Mahal, going back, again, I think a stupid decision. But even more so, why it's stupid. Why do you put the title on a guy that was just shit-faced drunk and driving and got into a car accident, who's got a history of drug and alcohol abuse, and who actually wrestled a pay-per-view high?
The show must go on.
I mean, I just thought, like, they're putting a lot of trust into Jeff Hardy, especially for having come off of that arrest. And I just think that is a potential disaster waiting to happen.
But hey, this is his like 6th chance to change people's minds.
But yeah, it's a good thing he's not trying out for the XFL. I mean, the XFL he couldn't play, but pal, goddamn, he can be the U.S. champion and buy him our company.
Yeah, I know, right?
WWE.
That's right. That's right. So, okay, this Greatest Royal Rumble and Backlash coming up, it really puts a hinder, not to gender because he does it to himself, but it puts a hindrance on the shows coming up, this shakeup, because
yes,
Samoa Joe comes over. I'm a Samoa Joe guy, big fan. Cuts a good
no
promo.
pun intended, I assume. Yeah.
No, I'm not, because at least Joe's over. Joe cut a good promo after he beat up Sin Cara, which, hey, big guy crushing little guys. Remember, it was good. Said that he's going to beat the crap out of all of your favorite guys and crush Roman Reigns. We didn't even talk about it. Roman Reigns. So this happened. The same thing happened on Monday, where Roman Reigns came out like a little puppy. It cuts this like promo of him being scared. He sounded so lost. And then Joe came out, cut a great promo. Roman called him a fat ass, which was a shoot. And that was it. Nothing really happened. So then Joe goes to SmackDown and says the same thing. He's not going to beat Roman Reigns. What's the point? Because I think Roman's winning at Saudi Arabia. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you got to keep the Saudi princes happy.
Well, yeah, but why move him to SmackDown if he's promoting a match against the Raw guy? What's the point?
There's no continuity. There's no quality assurance. Nobody's, looking at that and making sure it aligns, which is a big problem they have on their TV shows. But, yeah, I mean, did you notice how soft Roman looks? I mean, I thought, and I've said this many times before, but he does not have a top guy physique. And this showed once again why he wears the vest. He doesn't look like a top guy, period.
Well, he's tall. Isn't he like 6'4"?
He's like 6'3". Yeah, I mean, he's tall. He's a good size, don't get me wrong. But he doesn't have a top guy physique.
No.
And
no, he doesn't.
I mean, you look at the history of even Austin, who wasn't like the biggest guy in the world for a top guy, was, he has, probably maybe the worst top guy physique in a long, long time.
Jericho, would you consider him a top guy? I mean, he was.
No, I mean, I'm talking like the Hogan, Austin, Rock,
Cena.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I just, again, but I think, again, if he's the face of the company, they're not doing him any favors. They continue to book him in a very bad way, in a way that doesn't garner sympathy, in a way that makes him actually look pretty foolish.
He just looks scared. He looks scared. And I get, if I'm thinking of it realistically, I'm like, all right, well, Roman Reigns looks like a pansy. And Samoa Joe's out there like kicking ass, and he's talking a big game, like, oh yeah, I think this guy's gonna win. He makes it feel realistic to me. Roman doesn't. Roman just sounds like a moron, and you get these kids, if he just keeps losing, they're gonna not believe in him either, and the Roman experience is gonna be dead before we know it, and that is going to kill somebody, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, Roman just seems like he goes through the motions to me.
Kind of like Randy? Well,
yes.
Randy... No. Well, no, let me preface it. Randy Orton circa 2011 to now.
Yeah.
Because before then, he actually, I think, gave a shit. But 9 years was enough for him. Okay, so yeah, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose came over, yada, yada, yada. A couple of full-screen graphic returns. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, the Club, brother, the bar coming back thanks to a full screen. When I say full screen, I mean like the picture on the Jumbotron. We got an iPhone promo from The Miz saying he's coming back. We already knew that, but he just wanted to address it. He wasn't on the show. Okay, we already knew Big Cass, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce. Once again, great job. I love them on the mic. They're so funny.
Well, yeah, and they got promoted from NXT because they got a boob job.
Hey, do you got to do, man?
Well, and Alexa Bliss just got a boob job too.
She did? Is that why she's off TV?
Yeah, she needs whatever. I think it's up to 6 weeks or something like that to recover when you have a boob job.
How was that from a source, or is that did she actually say that?
Oh, go look at her freaking. If you don't believe me, go look at her social media.
All right, firing up the Instagram. Was it an Instagram?
Instagram and Twitter. I mean, she made sure to take a bikini picture, and I think you'll see the difference is obvious. So she's ready for that main event push, pal. Vince loves to push the women to get boob jobs.
I feel like that's extortion.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're willing to do it and they're okay with it, then yeah, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, well, hey, do you got to do, man? You got to do. So here, we want to talk about lack of continuity. Carmella had her celebration and talk about one of the most improved wrestlers that they've ever had. And that's a long time.
Not true.
In the last, oh my God, you're a hater and don't watch NXT. When she started, she was pitiful, and now she's a solid women's wrestler with decent on the mic. Had a great celebration. Charlotte comes out, gives her dues. Was a little robotic. I didn't really feel where that was going. She says she wants to cash in her opportunity to get her title back. Peyton Royce and Billy Kay come out. The main reason that Charlotte lost the title the week before. They talk a great game, make fun of Charlotte more. And then, what do you know? There's a beatdown, and Asuka debuts on SmackDown physically. And what do we know? The face team of Charlotte, Asuka, and Becky Lynch, who also helped, all in the same ring. Why wouldn't Asuka want to kill Charlotte? You know, they're sitting there high-fiving it. You know, I understand it's a respect thing, and that's the story they told at Mania, and I'm cool with it. But don't put the two of them together. Don't help her. Why would you help her?
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Like, it was fine. You know, their faces, I get it. And like she said at Mania, like, you were ready for Asuka, and it, you know, they respect each other. Their faces, that's what they do. But I don't know.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room?
I feel like you're gonna make fun of one of my favorite wrestlers.
I'm talking about Shinsuke Nakamura.
Amazing, tremendous. He's
amazingly bad promos and very average matches. Yeah,
he didn't cut well. You're the only one that thinks that. And plus, he didn't cut a promo this week.
Well, thank God. I'm thankful for that. Although, what I would do is I would totally have him do like the old martial arts movies, where his mouth is moving, but it's different from what is being said, like the audio track, where like it's like fight me now, and his mouth keeps moving after he's done talking.
I'm pretty sure that's racist.
I'm pretty sure it's fucking hilarious, and it would actually be something that would be entertaining for once with him.
Well, yeah. Once again, he low blowed Styles, stared at Daniel Bryan, and
I know that's what I was getting at, though. He has an obsession with AJ Styles' balls.
Well, he needs to put his in a bowling bag like mine, so that can't happen. And then Big Cass hit the big boot on Daniel Bryan, and that was the end of that. It looks like Big Cass is already in a main event feud on his first night on SmackDown, but it took Baron Corbin 8 months to get a U.S. title match. So I don't know where those two are going.
Well, that's good. Why would you jump into it right away? I mean, the wrestlers it used to be a long time before they would get any title shot.
Yeah, I think it's like
I don't want to see a rush, because if you start out right away with such a strong push, I mean, where do you have to go but down? You're already peaking too soon.
I'll be 80 when Baron Corbin peaks. Let's hope it happens.
Just wait. I'm really excited about it. I think he has the potential for some great matchups on Raw.
Yes, with Jinder Mahal, and that's about it.
Hey, did you see the heat that Jinder got on Raw?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, they should have ran with that, man. I mean, jeez.
Hey, 3-man band are on the same show now.
I know. I can't wait for that real creative idea to come.
Three-man band was awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, when Heath beat Seth Rollins in that non-title match, the place went nuts. I think 3MB was dead by then, but it was just Heath. But the one thing I do want to talk about, and I know you hate good wrestling, so you don't know who
good wrestling.
You don't know who Cien Almas is. Cien Almas.
I do know. He's Alberto Del Rio minus 6 inches and minus 40 pounds.
And excellent heel who can actually wrestle and not get drug tested every other day and fail them.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want Alberto Del Rio in the WWE whatsoever.
Good.
At all.
Good.
I'm really, really crossing my fingers. They're probably not going to sign him.
I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think they are.
Andrade Cien Almas is the best. And will be the most successful Latin, and I forget what his actual nationality is, but he will be as good as Rey Mysterio, but on the heel side, he's a heel naturally. The guy can wrestle. His manager, how about that? His manager Zelina Vega can talk. She actually wrestles in his matches to cause distractions and help him win, and does it well. They are the perfect package. They were, he was NXT champion for 5 or 6 months and did a damn good job of it. And all that they give him was an iPhone promo. So I'll say this because I know you hate all of that.
No, I don't.
Think of it logically. Why would NXT is supposed to be? It's not developmental anymore, clearly, but it's the next step up is the main roster. So he's over with the fans. You heard it. You heard it at the Rumble. You heard it on Tuesday whenever he showed up on the big screen. Why do you waste? Why you give R-Truth, and I said it on Twitter. You give R-Truth and Ty Dillinger that stupid ass segment.
Oh, that was so bad.
Playing patty cake, but you don't let Cien almost get a pop in the ring. Get out of here.
Yeah, why on earth do you introduce a new character like that? And the whole thing, you're right, was just so bad. I love Zelina Vega. I think she adds to his presentation tremendously.
Well, I thought you didn't watch the minor leagues.
I watched takeovers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I watched the takeovers.
So what did you think of his match with Aleister Black at TakeOver?
No, I think he's a good worker. I mean, he was a superstar in Mexico. Mm-hmm. He's Mexican. That's where he cut his teeth, and I think he's finally, with adding Selena and the work he's doing now, he's finally found his way in WWE, whereas before he was really floundering and it looked like he may even leave. I mean, I like him. I just think on the main roster, he's nothing really special. He's not a big guy. She adds to the act tremendously. I just don't think he stands out much, but he's a good worker in the ring, and he's fine. I just, he would be a much bigger star if he was a little bigger. That's just, I'm keeping it real.
Yeah, he's 5'9", 210.
Yeah, he's, like I said. Yeah, you're going to put him in the ring with some of the guys you are. It's just, imagine him in the ring with Randy Orton. 6'4" to 6'5".
Yeah.
I mean, he's going into the land of giants now. This is not NXT where all the guys are under 6 foot and under 200 pounds.
Well, you have your outliers. Aleister Black is a bigger guy. He always has been.
No, he's not that big, actually. But compared to the NXT guys, he is.
He's 6'1", 210.
That's not that big though at all. But it is compared to the NXT guys. And there's a few, like Lars is a legitimately big guy. So there's a few of them, but they've got so many indie ROH type workers that are under 6 feet, under 200 pounds, that I think the act worked a lot better with the smaller guys than it will on the main roster with the Land of the Giants.
So as we end the pod, because I forgot that the greatest Royal Rumble ever. Good job, Vince, for making your own Royal Rumble seem so meaningless. By the way, do they get anything if they win the greatest Royal Rumble?
They get a trophy. Can you imagine that? It's like, here is the greatest Royal Rumble ever. 50 superstars. And you win a trophy. I mean, how anticlimactic is that?
A little bit.
I mean, how could it be the greatest Royal Rumble ever when you have a fucking trophy as a prize?
You should get a title shot. You should.
Obviously, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. To whatever title you want, because it's co-branded. US, your United, any of them. They should get a title shot of whatever they want. Because you have to outlast 50 guys, not just 30. Right? I don't know. You should win the title if you win the Rumble. I don't know. But we'll talk about all of that next Thursday because we record the night before, so we could dedicate the whole thing to talk about it. But I do want to know two things. Thing one, three things. Thing one, did you enjoy? So your thoughts on NXT Takeover from New Orleans, top to bottom. You don't have to go through every match, just your overall thoughts.
It was okay. I thought it was just okay.
You didn't like the ladder match to open the show? 6 amazing workers. Exciting.
I thought that was the second best match of the night. So I enjoyed that. Although I think the wrong guy won.
Who you don't like Adam Cole? He's too fat for you?
I don't like Adam Cole. He looks like a Starbucks manager.
I love Adam Cole, baby. What are your thoughts on thing two? What are your thoughts on Velveteen Dream as the main event guy?
I am really high on Velveteen Dream.
Are you?
I am, and I think he should be in the main roster.
Why are you so high on him? What's tickled your fancy?
Well, I've known his work from MCW, Maryland Championship Wrestling, before he was on Tough Enough. And, he was in a tag team with Leo Rush, who's also in NXT. Mm-hmm. And so I thought he was a good independent wrestler and with an athletic look. I liked him on Tough Enough. And I've really seen his work just kind of progress as he went into NXT. And, in particular, that presentation of his character, really developing his persona, his character, those intangibles. He's really developed that end, how to manipulate the crowd. He's come really far. And, I think at this point, he still has, obviously he still has a lot of room to grow. But I think just kind of learning on live events and on TV, just kind of learning as he goes at this point may end up long-term being more beneficial.
Could he main event a WrestleMania? Last match on the card.
I think he has the talent to do so, but I would really question. I just don't know about that gimmick on the main roster. I just don't know, in particular, if it does work. I don't know that it's a main event gimmick. I don't think Vince would see it that way. But I really enjoy the gimmick. I love it.
Do you know how old he is?
Jeez, he's about 23.
He's 22 years old.
Yeah.
He's younger than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite takeover match? I like talking NXT with you because, you love big guys and they're not. So I like to hear your input.
Well, I thought the best match was Ciampa and Gargano from the last takeover. I thought Gargano and Ciampa have had some really phenomenal tag team matches in NXT at previous takeovers.
DIY versus the Revival.
Yeah, really great stuff, I thought. There's been some really great matches, but I think NXT just too often ends up kind of exposing that they're really the minor leagues.
What about Velveteen? This is the last NXT question before we have to go. What did you think of Velveteen and Aleister Black, where the whole storyline was just Velveteen and wanting him to say his name? Just something so simple as that.
I enjoyed it.
I'm very glad to hear that.
Because it fit his character. Not everything has to be complex. I mean, you do need some complex stories.
Well, that wasn't.
But based on his character, it fit perfectly. It was fine.
You talking the minor leagues with me make my heart full.
Who do you think got the better? This is there's a lot of varying opinions on this. Who do you think got the better end of the deal on the Superstar Shake-up, Raw or SmackDown?
Well, that's really hard because individual star power, technically SmackDown. Technically. Asuka, Jeff Hardy, big name. Samoa Joe, big name. The Miz, big name. Big Cass, big guy. Too easy. Cien Almas, maybe he'll get fan appeal. Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, sex appeal. Raw, Drew McIntyre is a monster. I think he's going to do amazing things, but I don't know when that will be. Dolph doesn't give a fuck anymore. Ember Moon, great talent. I don't know if Vince will like her because she's black. And listen, I know what you all are thinking. Why would you ever say that? How many champions have ever been African American? And you'll get your answer. So I'm just calling it as I see it. Ember Moon was a tremendous NXT Women's Champion. I hope it transitions to the main roster. Okay. The Club, serviceable guys, SmackDown. Sanity, we didn't even talk about them. Sanity's on SmackDown. You're an idiot.
They don't even have Nikki Cross, but anyway, I could care less about them.
I know. I thought you'd like Killian Dane. He's a good big guy. He can go. And I'm looking like the Authors of Pain are cool, but like they got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley. They got three guys that have big name appeal. That's it. And Bobby Roode because of his theme music. SmackDown, they did.
So I'm referring to SmackDown now as Smarkdown Live because I feel like they're catering to the Smarks.
Well,
with what they've built.
Devil's advocate. Do you want somewhere where the Smarks can go? Because SmackDown needs ratings, and that's who's going to watch the product. Raw will get watched no matter what because it's just a flagship. SmackDown needs to be different. And if that's catering to the indie guy, screw it, who cares?
Oh, I mean, it is what it is. Whether they, it doesn't bother me either way as a fan. I'm just, making that note. Now, do you think Vince McMahon believes that he loaded up Raw or that he loaded up SmackDown? In your case, you believe SmackDown is better. So do you believe that Vince intentionally thought he was loading up SmackDown to make it a better show? Or do you believe that he was loading up Raw and kind of giving SmackDown some of the smart favorites that he doesn't view as top guys?
What you just said.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I think Vince was loading up Raw for his TV negotiations, and he threw guys he doesn't see as top guys necessarily into... Even
The Miz? He doesn't think The Miz is a top guy? Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I think, I've said this, I think Miz should have a championship run before he retires. He's definitely earned that. But yeah, I mean, you look at I believe that Raw has the better roster, and I think a lot of hardcore fans are going to disagree with this. But Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's going to be some cool matchups with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, and there's things they can definitely do on SmackDown Live that I'm going to like. But you look at Raw, Baron Corbin, Kane, and Big Show, and Drew McIntyre, and Dean Ambrose.
Did you say Kane and Big Show? Stop.
Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Elias, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Jinder Mahal, Finn Balor, John Cena, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. I mean, they have absolutely
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. They have stacked, in my opinion, the Raw roster. See, Vince always thought that Raw needed more mid-card guys, and that SmackDown needed some more higher-end guys. Not like top guys, but like, the Samoa Joe types, the B-plus players. So they got some of that on SmackDown Live. And Raw got definitely some of the mid-carders from SmackDown. But when you look at, there's a ton of matchups with big names. There's a lot they can do on Raw, so that definitely should not be discounted.
No.
I mean, I can finally get my dream tag team now of Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman. And they can feud. I mean, who doesn't want to see Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman?
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. So where can we find you on Twitter?
At the Brad Shepard, SHEPARD. You can check out my sports work on nocoastbias.com. I'm the managing editor of bodyslam.net. I've broken some stories this past week. They wanted Austin for the greatest Royal Rumble ever. He said no, thank you. And some other stuff too, so make sure to check that out. And that's about it.
I'm surprised Austin turned down the gigantic payday he missed out on. You can follow me at John Fisher TV on Twitter. If we can find this out, how much Triple H, Taker, Jericho, and the big guys are all getting paid to fly to Saudi Arabia to do a little gimmick and leave. Millions of dollars. I bet you Saudi Arabia paid them $100 million to do this show, which they would have never done in the first place. But I'll leave that up to the investigators. Do you have anything else before we go?
Not really.
Yes. As long as nothing with a dick. That's all I care about. Next week, we'll leave you with a teaser.
You care about his dicks. Okay.
Yes. We'll leave you with a teaser. Brad's thoughts on the Andre documentary, as well as Hulk Hogan's bullshit in that. What a train wreck that was. Hulk, not the documentary. And our thoughts on the greatest Royal Rumble. Did Hulk not know the finish?
Brother.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.